a partial hiatus. Now, unlike a true hiatus, I'm not going to totally go away for an extended period of time. You will see more videos from me, though my attention may be more divided than usual. What's up, guys? This is VinylicPuma, and today, well, so much for partial hiatus. It's been 2 years. A lot has happened these past couple years, and I suppose a lot is still happening right now. Now, I'm not really sure what I can versus can't talk about, so I'm going to be pretty vague and like references to certain things. It just is the way it is. I would talk about and say the actual words if I could, but I don't make the rules, so this is just how we're going to have to proceed. But I'm sure many of you are probably wondering, well, Puma, what the heck happened to you? And no, obviously, I'm not dead. The truth is, guys, that I just got really burnt out. There's a really good analogy that MatPat from the Game Theorists YouTube channel uses, that being a YouTuber is a lot like being on a treadmill with an ever-increasing pace. You can usually keep pace at first, but eventually and over time, the speed eventually gets to you, and ultimately, the ever-increasing speed got to me. As you guys may have gathered from the hiatus video I made a couple years back, I was not doing a very good job with life balance in particular. I'll admit I'm still doing a pretty lousy job even still, but I am making some progress, and what I currently am most proud of and where I have made the most accomplishments in my life up to this point is a lot of the effort I've been putting into eating healthier and exercising. I'm someone that really struggled and to a degree still struggles with their weight and food. If I wasn't a normal weight, I was always overweight, and that eventually culminated in me becoming obese about 10 years ago, prior to me really starting YouTube. However, I hit a real low point around mid-2020 where I managed to reach about 300 pounds body weight. I was eating out a lot, eating junk food that I rationalized to myself as being healthy, and well, I'm sure many of you can relate that the world was pretty crazy and stressful at the time, and still is in a lot of ways. Last year, I was fortunate, however, to come across another gaming-focused YouTuber who you may or may not be aware of, Lockstin Gnoggin, and he has this video on keto, intermittent fasting, and some books by this guy named Jason Fung, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. So last March, I decided to start fasting in keto, and over about the span of a year, I've gone from about 300 pounds to 180 pounds. I've in effect lost about 40% of my body weight, and I'm technically now somewhere in between overweight and normal weight. As someone that was technically morbidly obese, it really is amazing the difference just going from carrying around all of that extra weight to no longer carrying it makes. That, and I think there's this attitude that we as humans can just consume X number of calories from any source and we'll just be healthy. I am no longer a believer in that philosophy. Maybe it works for a lot of people, but it just didn't work for me. I'd show you guys some pictures, but I think we can all agree that face reveals have a tendency to ruin the mystique. After all, and for all I know, when you hear my voice, you likely have an image in your head of what I look like as opposed to what I actually look like. Maybe I've done myself a little bit of a disservice here by telling you guys I was obese, because that messes up your conception of whatever I was. And in general, I don't want to rob you of that conception because that image or avatar you have of me and the relationship we have developed is special. It's pretty unique in modern YouTube world where you associate a face with most channels. Maybe I'll eventually have to go that route, but for now, I'd like to keep things as they are. But let's get to what I suspect you guys are really wondering, and that is this the end of the hiatus and are you coming back to YouTube? Unlike my last video, I don't want to mismanage your guys' expectations and make a lot of promises that I don't ultimately end up keeping. I think it would also be extremely arrogant and foolish of me to not acknowledge that the landscape is also much different from when I took my hiatus, let alone what it was like when I was at my peak. After all, I'm literally playing a new Borderlands game, or more accurately, Wonderlands game here on video. What I will say is that Borderlands Fallout in YouTube had a profound effect on my life. It literally was my life, and if you had told me 10 years ago that I would have been able to buy a car, let alone other things, because of these games, my mind would have been blown. It's one thing to go from watching your heroes to suddenly being able to actually do what they do, surpassing your own expectations and having all of that affect your offline world. I'll also say that I've been having a hankering for making some videos again. I can't promise if they'll be any good, but there are at least a few ideas that I have. There's one in particular surrounding some of my, well, shall we say, admirers. We'll see though, I'm not going to guarantee anything, but it's just an idea that I've had. The final thing that I'll say is that one of the things I always mentioned in a lot of my previous channel updates is how I wanted to go beyond just Borderlands and Fallout. When it comes to Fallout, well, that makes a lot of sense since Bethesda pretty much killed that franchise for Starfield. I'll admit I'm actually still kind of bitter about how things turned out there. I guess it is what it is and we all just kind of have to move on. But now that Microsoft does own Fallout, it will be interesting to see where they eventually take it. As for Starfield, I'm just out of the loop on it. The game could be great, and I think it would be really good if it was. I feel like the last thing we need is yet another high-profile games media storm and controversy surrounding a game this year. Because I was just thinking about this the other day, and we've literally had one like every year around holiday time since like 2016, because there was I think 2016 was Infinite Warfare, I think 2017 was Battlefront 2, 2018 was Fallout 76, 2019 I think might have been Battlefield 5, but don't quote me on that, 2020 was Cyberpunk, 2021 was the re-release of GTA San Andreas and them messing up that remaster, but hopefully things will be better this year. As for Borderlands, maybe this is something that I shouldn't say, but I sort of feel like I've already made my mark. I did say in my last update video that I did manage to become one of the biggest Borderlands YouTubers in the scene, and how that was really important to me in terms of fulfilling a dream that I had here on YouTube. To reflect on that, I think one of my biggest contributions to the community was really trying to push mods for Borderlands 2. I highly doubt I was the only one to do this, and it's not like I really designed anything in particular, but I'm really glad to see that that scene has really evolved and blossomed. Especially since when I was coming up on YouTube, there was a pretty hardline stance against modding the game in the community, or at least that's what I perceived. What I'd argue makes Borderlands better than the other looter shooters, whether it be Destiny, Warframe, or even classic Diablo-style loot games, is the ability to tweak it. Getting the best gun with the best parts, optimizing your skill trees with your equipment, and just kind of going out into the game world and just experimenting was a big reason why I played. Or back in the day when Borderlands 2 was really big, I always thought it was cool to go into a lobby with some guy that had a jump gun. He'd dupe it for you, and then you guys would go explore the dust out of bounds or whatever. Or you do Bloodshot Stronghold. I always thought that was really cool. If I had to distill the point that I'm trying to make better, if Gearbox gave you a solid game with great design elements, mechanics, and vision, probably the best part of the Borderlands games was simply the ability to subvert that intended design from time to time. As much as many in the community probably wouldn't want to admit it, I'd argue that Rick's Gibbed editor probably did a lot to boost the player base's engagement with Borderlands 2 in particular. Did you manage to farm that perfect unkempt Herald or 94% Sham? Well, simply boost its level with this neat program over here, and now you don't have to spend another 4 hours trying to get it again with the new level cap release. Do you like Gearbox's cool guns? Well, why not make a longbow Maggie pistol that fires in full auto? Or maybe make a Butcher shotgun that fires Norfleet projectiles and has infinite ammo like the Infinity. Or you could do that same thing with the Bada Boom and then use that to jump over buildings. It's actually kind of interesting because I've been playing through Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and there was an eerie part in the story where Tina, Fret, and Valentine mention intended versus unintended rule sets for their game. I get the intended rule set view, especially from the perspective of a designer. And to compare it to art, if you painted the Mona Lisa and someone came along and changed her smile, I'd get why Leonardo or the designer wouldn't like it. What I would posit is someone coming along and changing the smile isn't so much a rejection of your vision, so much as it is a reflection of what brings that person the most joy. Granted, if someone comes along and takes a paint roller to the Mona Lisa, that's not good, but if someone takes the Mona Lisa and makes it blank, or they use an AI to get it to smile or talk to you or something, then that's something that other people might enjoy as well. I think that's a big reason people like to mod video games, and is in part a reason why things like Game Shark and Game Genie were so popular in the pre-Xbox Live era of gaming. There's certainly a balance you have to strike, but I'd say if people enjoy it, maybe there is a way you can incorporate it. I know I went on a rant there, but what I will ultimately say is that I'm glad how the community is much more friendly to modding than it was in the past. If my influence was able to help make that more of a reality, then I'd say that wasn't such a bad thing, considering there are even mods for Borderlands 3 now if you have the PC version. Going beyond both franchises, though, and into something else that I probably shouldn't say, is that my hiatus not only involved YouTube, but also gaming as well. It's not like I haven't kept up with anything, but I didn't really give Borderlands 3 the justice it probably deserves, and the only games that I've really played and digested these past few years are games like Demon's Souls, the Ratchet & Clank games, and I had a brief stint with Resident Evil. So I've got a bit of catching up to do, and I definitely have some ring rust. There's also what you guys subscribed for. Most of you are likely here for Borderlands at this point, and I highly doubt you guys are interested in, say, gaming news, or just something more general. That said, I don't want to make any promises yet because, again, the last time that I did that, well, I went away for 2 years. Ultimately, I'm mainly here today making this video to simply reconnect and see who is still around and interested in me after such a long time. One promise that I would like to make that I'm going to do my best in fulfilling here is to simply reply to some of your guys' comments. So if you have any questions you might like to ask me, or really just anything you want to say, feel free to leave a comment below. Depending on what it is, I can't necessarily guarantee that I'll reply to it, but I'm going to at least look at and reply to the vast majority of what I see. I am looking forward to, if not a little anxious about your guys' comments. It has been a while, and I did essentially disappear from your guys' lives. I suspect I was pretty impressionable on you, and would especially like to hear from you if you've managed to make it this far into the video. Seriously, leave a comment and we'll see where things go. Otherwise, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash like, click the bell, leave a comment about your day, and as always, take care and have a good one.